Aloha, everybody. Welcome back to Spirit Chat Radio. Today, I'm going to be talking about 11 physical signs from Spirit, or 11 signs from Spirit, basically. Before I get into that, I do want to go over some stuff that's been going on, some changes I made with the radio. For those of you who follow me or have been following me or listening to my podcasts, I did try another platform for a little while with Om Times Radio. That didn't work out very well, and if you've been listening to the past few shows, you probably obviously know we started having some really bad technical issues. I wasn't really excited about the commercial aspect of what was going on, and so I'm back to my old system. No commercials, no Om Times Radio, and most likely you found me on iTunes anyways, or that's where you follow me, so it's really not going to affect you here nor there, except for the fact that it's going to sound much better and cleaner. Yay! So super glad about that, and truthfully it's a relief. So I decided to do a podcast today on signs from spirit, and the reason that I wanted to do that was because I get a lot of questions when it comes to seeing signs from spirit, and what does that really entail? So as I'm going to go through the signs, there's going to be different ones that are going to correlate to different spirit types, I guess I would say. That would be different per person. So it's not going to be like this sign correlates to this, or like, for instance, what I mean by that is when you're getting a sign from spirit, it can either be a spirit guide, it can be an angel, it can be a loved one that has passed, or it could just be a random spirit that maybe you know or don't know. It might be someone that you've known in another lifetime. It might be someone that you don't know but feels like that they want to try to communicate with you. For the most part, that shouldn't freak you out, like the latter part of just a random spirit coming in and trying to communicate with you, because most of you who are listening are really fall into the category of basically a spirit guide, loved one, or angels, or even someone, a close person in a past life, a loved one in a past life that maybe you don't recognize in this lifetime because you're not incarnated together. So we're going to cover some of the signs because there's some really common signs out there. And for those of you who are in my Higher Purpose Learning group, we get a lot of new people coming in there often, and sometimes we get some of the same questions. So I thought I would again cover some of the most common signs that you'll come up against. The first common sign when it comes to spirit communication, or like spirit trying to connect with you, would be coins. If you're seeing coins in a way that really grabs your attention. So, there's always coins around. People are, and I'm sure that there might be some skeptics out there going, well, there's coins everywhere, so that just doesn't even make sense. But if you start seeing coins in some type of pattern or some type of way that draws your attention or awareness, might be the same type of coin, might be like all pennies, might be that every time you see a coin, it's either heads up or tails up. It might be that it's a certain year of coin. It might be that you find them in the same place. That's super common. So like maybe, outside your front door or by your bed or something of that nature. So spirits like to leave coins when they're trying to interact with you. And like I said, you would look for a coin pattern. Someone had brought up something to me that I thought was super cool. And I wanted to pass this along to you guys because I thought it was a really great idea, especially if you have kids. For those of you who have kids, I'm a firm believer, obviously, of being very open with your kids when it comes to spirit communication, the spirit world. They already have a very good sense that it exists. They may even have more knowledge than you because they're very fresh from the other side, and their belief system has not been altered yet. So it's kind of a fun thing though, and to do what I'm going to be talking about, which is having a spirit jar. Somebody had brought it up that they to me at one point in time that they have a spirit jar that they put coins in because in their particular household, spirit leaves coins. And she does this with her kids, and they watch this spirit coin jar fill up. And I thought that that was one of the coolest things that I had heard, because it takes away the scariness of the whole thing, and it allows that positive, fun connection for everybody, whether it be adults or kids. It allows that connection to be positive and allows the awareness to heighten, which is really key if you're listening and you want to, you know, tune in and make that bond, that connection with the spirit world. You really need to have that combination. You have to have a positive view on it. You have to have some fun with it. You have to have your awareness heightened, and you have to bring your fear down. And so that's really helpful. And truthfully, as we get into some of these other ones, there's another one or two things here that you could actually put in your spirit jar as well. So it doesn't just have to be coins. It could be another thing that you see left around, or something that is significant to your household. But I loved that. And like I said, talking about the parent and the kid thing, that is something that I feel really strongly about, because if kids have a relationship with spirit that they're naturally born with, they will continue on to use that through their adult life, and it will enhance, basically, it'll enhance their life path experience, because they will utilize that in combination with the knowledge that they have in this physical lifetime with their brain and whatnot, and they will make good choices based on their intuition, where they're feeling guided. They will be more in tune with who they are. They will be more in tune with the spirit world, in the their spirit guides and whatnot that is trying to guide them. They'll be a lot more in tune with where they should be heading. They'll be more in tune with the energy around them, and a way that will also keep them from danger, or keep them from situations that they shouldn't find themselves in. And I feel like as a parent, that should be a really great big priority, especially if you can give your children an extra tool in their spiritual toolbox to help them navigate through difficult times when they're a teenager or young adults, So I think that is a really cool thing. And I think that sometimes, because parents don't have the knowledge, they just veer away from helping their children make that spiritual connection, because they maybe don't have the entire knowledge, or they're afraid themselves, or they don't know how to, I would say, they don't know how to make that a positive experience for their kids. They're not sure how to make that bond happen. And this is a really fun game and a really fun way. And you don't even need to have kids. Really, if you want to do a spirit jar, you just make your own, take a mason jar or make your own spirit jar. And they labeled it. And I think that that's kind of cool. And talk about a conversation starter, throw a spirit jar up on your counter, put spirit jar, but only do that if you're ready to have that conversation. Otherwise, in my household, it probably wouldn't be weird, but I do have some friends that would be like, I'm out of here. Like that, it totally freaks them out, which is weird. I know that I have friends like that, but I do. The other another sign from spirit that is super common, and again, I've done a lot of videos on this, or I've done a lot of stuff on this. I think I've done 2 YouTube videos on this, one recently, is seeing synchronistic numbers or number patterns. Now, I'm not going to get into this too much in detail. If you're interested in learning more about that, I'd like you to go ahead and stop over to the YouTube channel and check out the one on numbers, synchronistic numbers, because otherwise it'd take up a long part of the show. But that is another way that spirits try to connect with you, is bringing awareness that they're around through synchronistic numbers and number patterns. So all of these things that we're going to be talking about, the difference between it just being, and we all know that like in my world, there is no coincidence. That the coincidence just means message, that's basically what it means. Coincidence, replace that with, oh, message, there's a message. The difference between something being random, though, like finding random coins or just randomly seeing numbers, is if it brings to your forethought, if it brings to your mind, that was weird, that's interesting, if it brings any type of awareness to your thought process, like that draws your attention towards the coins, towards the synchronistic numbers, and towards the next one, which is going to be radio songs. If it brings some type of awareness that you're paying attention to, that is a huge indicator that it is some type of message or spirit communication happening or some type of guidance happening. People just think, well, this brought my attention and then I found that interesting, and what does it mean? Well, if it brings it to your attention enough for you to actually wonder, I wonder why I'm seeing this, it means that there is some type of interaction going on between you and the spirit world. Because what people don't realize is that thought process of the bringing the awareness, that's coupled with you tuning into your spiritual body. It's something that you're not really trained to be aware of. If you take like my classes and stuff, you are more trained to be aware of that. But for regular people, they would kind of brush it off. But there's an actual system that happens that brings that to the awareness to your thought process. You're just not really trained to know what that system is. So all you really need to know is, did it bring it to my attention? Okay, there must be something to this then. That's what you need to know. That's your rule of thumb. So radio songs, that would be the third one. This is something that happens a lot, usually more so with loved ones, is radio songs. So if you get into your car, there's a certain song that's playing at a certain time, has certain words, means something to you in some way, or you keep hearing the same song when you're in a certain thought process. Those of you who hear the songs will know what I mean. If there's a radio song playing or something on the radio, a song, well, actually it doesn't have to be on the radio. It could be a song anywhere, I guess. You could walk into a place, the song could be playing. If the song brings awareness to your, like, oh, that's weird, again, rule of thumb, that reminds me of so-and-so, I feel like my loved one's trying to talk to me, or that it was a song that you and your loved one had together, whatever the case, it reminds you of the loved one, whatever, that is a very good way to get your attention. And the reason that Spirit even chooses a lot of these things is because it's very hard to get people's attention when it comes to spiritual contact. So it's very hard to get, or I guess I would say in the physical world, it's very hard to get people's attention in the physical world. People tend to brush things off so easily. And so because of that, the reason that these things are signs from Spirit is because these are the types of things that tend to make you pay attention. They tend to not be brushed off so easily. For whatever reason, these are very good attention getters. And so that's why, if you're wondering, well, why would Spirit use these things instead of something else? Well, that's why. Like, I'm sure people are wondering, well, why aren't they leaving me like $20 bills instead of like pennies and dimes or something? But that would blow away. You would go into a whole other mindset. And you wouldn't even think about it. You'd be like, oh my gosh, $20. So anyways, so far we've covered coins, numbers, synchronistic numbers, and number patterns. Radios and radio songs are songs. Again, I want to replace not just radio, but just songs that you would hear somewhere. And the next thing would be feathers. We have feathers showing up at different places. That's super, super common. Feathers can be any size, from anything, from, I guess, I don't know, from any type of bird, whatever. But feathers is a really strong indicator of it. And again, we're talking about ones that would show up, that would draw your attention. A lot of times angels like to leave feathers, obvious reasons, I believe. But that is something that they leave often, is feathers. My grandmother leaves white feathers for my daughter when she sees her. When feathers are around, she sees her and she knows she's around. So that might be another indicator. Then this one, people kind of get sometimes, or if you have this happen, you'll know and you'll just be like, yep, that happens to me. For other people, don't necessarily go look at all the birds, because that's what the sign is birds. Spirit likes to contact people through birds. They like to send a bird, and it's very interesting because when you get a bird sent from spirit or guided to you from spirit, you will find that they will be looking at you in a way that you swear they're trying to mind meld with you. You swear there's some type of telepathy going on. Birds is a very strong indicator. And again, don't be running around looking at all the birds and just being like, oh, there's another one. When spirit is trying to have some type of communication with you through sending you a bird sign, you'll know, because it will be something random. Well, they'll come very close to you, or they'll peer at you in a way that feels like they're peering into your very soul and seriously trying to mind meld with you. Or they will show up at weird places. Sometimes, or many times, for people, it will be the same type of bird. If it becomes a common form of spirit communication with you and the bird, then many times it might be, a white dove, it could be a cardinal, it could be a raven, could be a crow, could be whatever. It might be the same type of bird over and over again, but birds, that's also a very common sign. And, to go back to the feathers, with the feathers, you could also throw those in your spirit jar. So you could have coins and feathers in your spirit jar. The phone, that is another biggie. That is number 6, I believe, on the list. The phone. Spirits love to mess with your phone because they can, and because it really gets your attention. Spirits, guides, angels, whatever. The phone is a huge indicator. Now, it might just ring at the same time every night, which it does at my mother-in-law's house every single night at the same exact time. You might find, and now that's a landline phone, because it can be a landline phone, and it can also be, your iPhone or whatever. It doesn't matter what type of phone. You might hear something on the other end of the phone. You might hear like some staticky stuff. You might just be getting interference. There's all kinds of ways that it can reach you on the phone, or interfere with the phone in a way that gets your attention. So that would be number 6. Number 7 would be electronics. Electronics such as your TV, your computer, things that you would plug in, type of electronics. This is also a very common avenue when it comes to spirit communication. Why? Because it's really easy for them to work on that frequency. So the other things that we've been talking about, something like coins or different things like that, and leaving maybe coins, feathers, synchronistic numbers, those are actually harder or take more effort for spirits to navigate and kind of allow to happen, or have a hand in happening. But electronics, and there's going to be another category, which will be the next one we'll talk about. that's a lot easier for them to control or work with because of the frequency of the electricity that they're working with. It's just they can tune into it pretty easy, and they can mess with your electronics, your TV, your computer. That is huge on my end for anybody who follows my stuff. That my computer is just, oh, I'll tell you, sometimes I'm just like, I give up right now. Like, I'm gonna go do something else. You mess with my computer all you want to. I'll be back later and we'll just keep going. But anytime I do classes, I get actual spirit interference, which is not stuff I'm talking to you guys about right now. I'm talking about loved ones or spirits, guides, and angels, and random spirit, but positive ones trying to get your attention. So, electronic things that can make noise that maybe plug in, and TVs, computers, anything of those natures, you might find that they're acting oddly, that maybe the TV's turning on or off, or you're having issues with sound. Again, these are something I probably don't need to go into too much detail about, because if spirit's messing with your electronics, TV, computer, you'll know. It's not a, I wonder if it's like a, what the heck is happening right now? My kids, a lot of times, they like to mess with their TVs and like turn them on or off at random times. Doesn't matter what TV, and people might go, well, you need a new TV. I'm already, I'm constantly, I can hear the skeptics in my head, but they don't really quite understand the world that we live in. Anyways, it doesn't matter what TV see is the interesting thing. We can be in a vacation rental or somewhere else, and they like to mess with their TVs. So that also brings me to the next one, which would be 8, lights. Any type of lights. So a super common one, which again, you really got to thank the movie industry for freaking everybody out. But toy lights, even, like if you have kids or grandkids, or you're around people where, all the kids' toys anymore have like lights and sounds that go with them. They never used to be that way when my kids were little, not all the time, but now that I have grandkids, I look at them and all the toys are like that. They light up, they make noises. So we have some that every now and again will go off. Just happened yesterday, actually. And that is a good way to get your attention when there's a toy in the corner. Of course, like I said, for most people, they immediately think, oh my God, whatever scary movie comes to their head, and then want to run out of the house screaming, because they always do that in scary movies, I swear. But lights to your house also. Any lights. Anything revolving around lights. That's another easy frequency for them. Lights and toys, lights in your house, like lights flickering, lights in the corner of your house that are not attached to anything. I actually will get into some of this a lot more in my spirit communication class when that opens, but angels like to do lights that they're not attached to anything. So again, and I keep repeating myself, but it is true. If you've ever seen this happen, it's not going to be something you're going to go, I wonder if that happened. It's going to be you're going to be going, oh my gosh, that has totally happened to me, and I had no explanation for it whatsoever. A flash of light, like literally a flash of light that will be like maybe 3 feet off the ground or wherever in your house or wherever, that will sort of be shocking to your system because it's not attached to anything. So if you've had that happen, you'll know. That tends to usually be angels. But lights flickering in the house, lights being attached to toys, anything that has to do with lights, they find that is a very good attention grabber. Now, like I said, most of these things, some of them you can brush off. Usually you don't. And some, like I said, some of them you will. But they do, if you're really not paying attention to the coins and synchronistic numbers and the radio songs or any of these things, birds, feathers, then they're going to go a little bit more heavy duty on you. And then they're going to go, all right, well, let's kind of mess with the computer and mess with the lights a little. That'll get their attention. So that's always fun. The last three, so I kind of went from really super common ones that you could technically brush off and ignore, but then into the ones that they're like, okay, you're not going to be able to ignore this so much. And now I'm going to get into the ones that probably totally freak everybody out. Super common. More people than not usually have had this happen. Like, you would think if you're just listening that maybe you're the only one, but I talk to a lot of people, as you guys know, and people ask me about it all the time. And like, I would say 7 out of 10 people have these things happen to them. They just kind of get freaked out or try to brush them off and they don't know what it is. So number 9 would be touch. They actually touch you. And normally this will be during a sleep time. It will be during a time of rest and a time of like where your eyes are closed and your belief system is down and your sort of your guard's down, I guess I would say. And now that doesn't mean don't go to sleep, guys. Like, seriously. That's a good time for you. You're relaxed, you're tuned in and whatnot. But they like to touch you, and many times it happens during sleep. And so, anyways, during this time, they may touch your arm, they may touch your back. They used to, my guides would always brush my hair aside, like you could feel their hand moving, moving your hair. And that would definitely wake you up or get your attention. But we were just at a vacation rental this weekend, a couple weekends ago, and this spirit was really excited about the touching thing, and so they were touching my son and his girlfriend, and then me, and totally freaked her out. That was fun. But anyways, touch, that's another very big indicator from spirit. And another one would be whispering your name. So whispering to you at night, whispering while you're sleeping. You may think that it's somebody that you might have been dreaming about it. You might have been, you may think that somebody came in the room, and then you realize that, especially if you have a partner that you sleep with or whatnot, and the partner is sound asleep, and then you're like, oh my God, what just happened? People tell me that all the time. I find the touch, the whisper, and the next one that we're going to be talking about, while it can be startling at first if you're not used to it or if you're new to it, yes, it can be startling, but it's so super cool. Like, people want to hear their guides all the time, and they whisper their name, and then they just have a meltdown. And they're just like, oh my God, someone's whispering my name. So that is super, super common though. Again, a touch, a brush, a tap on the arm, a tug on the arm, a touch on the back, a whisper. And they don't always come together. They might be separately done. But those are also super common. Usually when they whisper your name, it as a guide. Touching many times can be a loved one that's passed over as well as a guide. But those are very, very common. More common than you'd think. I bet you probably would know at least 3 people who have had these experiences yourself. And the last thing, which this one, like, seriously kind of freaks people out, but is knocking. They love to knock. And usually it will be in patterns of 3. So it's knocking usually in patterns of 3, like a knock, 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 and then they might wait and maybe do it again, knock, 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 or they might have a pattern where they're doing it 3 different times, but it's usually in patterns of 3. This one takes a minute for you to get totally freaked out because usually if they can, it takes spirit a lot of effort and energy to do any of these things. And that's what people don't understand, which I want people to realize how cool it is if a spirit or spirit guide or an angel is trying to contact you and they comes through in the physical world in any way that brings your attention with any of these things that we're talking about. It takes them a lot of effort to do that. The effort it's a lot. And so for them to take their spiritual energy and manifest into the physical world energy and to place things or to come through in the physical realm. And that is so super cool. Like, that's absolutely amazing that they are making that much effort to contact you. It's just like, you should feel very blessed and like, wow, like they wanted to reach me so much that they made this huge effort. And the knocking is a huge effort. It's huge. It takes a lot of their energy to do that. And so again, usually people think somebody's there because knocking, if a spirit is knocking, it's not going to be light. Just so you know, it's not going to be like, well, I think I heard knocking. It is going to be more like, oh, answer the door, somebody's here. It's going to be more like, get up, somebody needs to get in. Like, you know, go answer the bedroom door, go answer the front door. It is knocking, like a straight up knocking. So it will be something that, and then you'll go and nobody will be there. So that is also very common. Hopefully that wraps up all 11 common signs that I wanted to cover for you guys. Hopefully you found this helpful. Again, this is not to freak you out. It is to bring awareness, and it is also to bring your awareness to the surface in a way that you realize that you're very special and you should feel very blessed if Spirit is making this big of an effort to come through and bring awareness or heighten your awareness to their presence, because that's what they're really doing. And you should feel blessed and really, like, after you get past the I'm totally freaked out, I did just see this in a scary movie part, then you should be good. And you know what, the knowledge should be helpful, because most spirits trying to contact you, they're not evil spirits, they're not bad spirits. It makes great TV, but it's not reality. Are there some negative spirits out there? Yes, but 97% of the people are not even dealing with that, and truthfully, again, not to freak anybody out, but when a negative spirit wants to, kind of interfere in your life, they're not doing so by alarming you to their presence in a way that you could then do a clearing and get rid of them. They're sneakier. They're sneakier in a way that they're trying to bring your vibration down. They're going to slip something else in there. So I'll again get into more of that in my spirit communication class, but it's not something the majority of you need to worry about. And again, they're sneakier than this, so they're not, negative spirits are not going to be this forefront to you that they're there. They're just not going to be, because then you can get rid of them. Then you can clear them out. They'll get through you through thoughts and low self-esteem and whatnot, things of that nature. But hopefully you enjoyed this. I will be using this platform from here on out. And if you haven't joined my Higher Purpose Learning Group, definitely go over and check that out. KeysToTheSpiritWorld.com. If you haven't been there, that's where you can get to the Higher Purpose Learning Group. You can go up top right corner, says Spirit Community on there. Also, I have some very cool stuff coming up this end of this year, beginning of next year, that I'm super excited to unfold for you guys, especially those who are trying to learn more. I think that you're going to really enjoy what I've been working on. And hopefully I will see you soon in my group. And we do a lot of discussions over there. We do a lot of cool things. So anyways, until next time, I hope you have the most amazing day. Aloha.
Black Friday is coming, and for the adults in your life who love the coolest toys, well, there's something for them this year too. Bartesian is the premier craft cocktail maker that automatically makes more than 60 seasonal and classic cocktails, each in under 30 seconds at the push of a button. And right now, Bartesian is having a huge site-wide sale. You can get $100 off any cocktail maker or cocktail maker bundle when you spend $400 or more. So, if the cocktail lover in your life has been good this year, or the right kind of bad, get them Bartesian. At the push of a button, make bar-quality cosmopolitans, martinis, Manhattans, and more. All in just 30 seconds. All for $100 off. Amazing toys aren't just for kids. Get $100 off a cocktail maker when you spend $400 through Cyber Monday. Visit Bartesian.com/cocktail. That's BARTESIAN.com/cocktail.
It can get lonely climbing Mount McKinley, so to entertain myself, I go to ChumbaCasino.com. At Chumba Casino, I can play hundreds of online casino-style games for free, like online slots, bingo, Slingo, and more. Plus, I get a daily login bonus. It's just too bad that up here, I don't have anyone to share my excitement with. Woohoo!
Live the Chumba life. Anytime, anywhere. Play for free now at ChumbaCasino.com. VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.